Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is another one here, the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold here, and I have my new good friend here, Ashley Micciche, is in the building, and she is saying that she's going to help us create our business exit roadmap. Is that right, Ashley?
That is 100% correct.
Awesome. Well, we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yes, on
overpromise.
this special episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, and we are back with another one, folks. It is the Authority Project, and you are the project. You want to slap authority to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And we are happy to have Ashley here in the building. How are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing fantastic today.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we got a lot to discuss today about exit strategies. Yes. So before we even get into that, let's start with, first of all, Ashley, who you are personally and then professionally.
Sure. So my background is actually in finance. I graduated college with a degree in business finance, having no idea what I wanted to do, but it just seemed practical. And very quickly, I joined my father in his financial advisory practice, and he kind of set me to the wolves when I first started. He said, "You got to go out and find your own clients." This is the same father who never will let me win at Chutes and Ladders or anything else. So he's like, "You got to figure it out, sink or swim." And so that's what I did. And I went out and it was a lot easier to cold call businesses because I didn't have a network. I didn't have any way to kind of market what I was doing as a 22-year-old financial advisor. And so I went out and knocked on doors and started to build up this niche 401k practice where I was working with a lot of the small business owners on their 401k plans. And then through that, I realized that a lot of my clients were late in their career. So small business owner, maybe they had anywhere from 5 to 50 employees, and they're in their 50s, 60s, sometimes older than that. And I was talking to them about their retirement, and it was front and center of our discussions. But I noticed that we were having almost no conversations about what were you going to do with your business? Like, how does your business play into what your overall strategy is for retirement? And for many of my business owner clients, it is a significant part of their net worth, their business. And a lot of them I noticed were just procrastinating. They weren't really making any plans for exiting their business. And then about 7 years ago, I had a client who died very suddenly of a heart attack. And I watched from the sidelines while his business basically kind of crumbled over the next couple of years. So his wife came in to run the business, and she did the best she could and actually did a very good job, but she had not worked in the business previously. She was sort of plunged into chaos because she had to come in unexpectedly and run the business. They ended up being bought like 2 years later for pennies on the dollar, and the company who acquired them basically just laid off almost all of their employees. And a lot of these people were late in their own careers and, very close to retirement themselves and had worked there for, 10, 20 years or longer. So it was a very difficult situation to be involved in and witness. And that was the game changer. I was like, I got to start talking to my clients more about this and really press the issue. And so that led to just more casual conversations, which then grew into a full-blown practice area and something that we do with our clients, which is helping them to plan and then implement their own unique exit strategy from their business. So that's kind of the genesis of how I professionally of how I got to where I am today.
Great story. That's amazing how things work out. Oh, that's great. So I got some other questions for you here, but I want to stay right there because let's talk about this roadmap first.
Mm-hmm.
How did you see this as well, did you see it after that story? Did you see it as a common problem with other people outside of that main group of people?
Yeah, most business owners, they've got their head down, working in their business, and planning your exit can kind of seem like an overwhelming thing. Are you going to sell to an employee? Maybe you have a family business. Maybe you're looking for a third party buyer for your business. Maybe you're just going to put that key in the lock one last time and walk away. And most business owners, they're not serial entrepreneurs. So it's like they're only going to do this one time. And it's not something that they do. And there's just not a lot of people out there to help them navigate it. There are people who will help with maybe a piece of it, like the tax planning, or the attorney gets involved with drafting documents and doing some of the planning. But what I found as I started to become more involved in this area and working with my clients on it is that there just aren't a lot of people out there who are navigating the entire process for clients. And so I started to think about, like, well, where do business owners need to start, and talking to other experts who have been doing this for a lot longer than I have. And what are the key things that business owners need to do as they begin to plan for their exit? And so from that, I developed the roadmap, which is like, these are the things, universal, doesn't matter who you're transferring your business to, what that looks like, what that process is. These are the things you need to do, and in this order. And if you do those, you're going to lay the foundation for a solid exit from your business.
Great. Give us that order, ma'am.
Okay.
Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it.
The first thing is valuing your business. You got to know what your business is worth today.
Okay.
And that is something that I think a lot of business owners just kind of skip over. They may make assumptions about what their business is worth, but you really need to know what your business is worth today, because you need to know, well, do I need to grow my business and focus on that before I start exiting? Or is my business value where I need it to be in order to proceed with the exit process? So that's the very first step, is valuing your business. And then from there, we go to picking an ideal successor. And this could, that's where the paths really diverge. A lot of it depends on the goals and the legacy of the business, where it's going. Is there family? Is there an employee that we want to sell to, or a group of employees, maybe an outside third party? And so those are kind of the three main paths to exit. But we want to pick somebody who is ideal, and we don't want to fit a square peg in a round hole and set that successor up for failure. And so a lot of that depends on, well, what does the departing owner need as far as assets, income? Like, do you need to sell your business, or do you want to sell your business? Those are all things that business owners need to consider. So it's not an easy conversation, and it evolves over time too. But so that's the next thing, is picking the ideal successor. And then from there, we can move on to, what are your financial needs? Getting a good picture of, if we pursue this exit path, and let's say you sell your business for $3 million, is that going to be enough? Usually business owners aren't going to get a $3 million check. It usually happens dripped out over time as an income stream. So whatever that situation is for that particular business owner, once you cross over on the other side of your exit, are you going to have enough financially to embark on the next stage of your life, which for most of my clients is retirement? And then once we get a good understanding of the picture, and that's where my background comes in, is the financial side, and really understanding that before we move forward. And then the last thing is once you piece together all those things, then we can establish a timeline. Do you want to exit your business in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So most business owners, I think, do the opposite. They're like, I want to exit yesterday, or I want to exit, in 3 years. And so I'm going to piece together all these other things. But we can't set the timeline up until we know that the timeline is going to be realistic. And those other three things that we do first really dictate the timeline. And sure, you could exit your business tomorrow if you want, but it's unlikely that you're going to, maximize the business value and get what you need from your business if you go that route.
So this is great stuff. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, Ashley, and say that we shouldn't do this ourselves, right? We should have a specialist somewhere. So that has to be needed somehow. Because be honest with us, we can't really do this by ourselves, right?
You could, but again, because you don't know what comes first and then what comes next, it's really hard. And I think, there's been lots of business owners who have successfully navigated their own exit, but it's very difficult to do. It's kind of like remodeling your house. If you're going to remodel your house, personally, I'm going to hire a general contractor, because if I need to just do something like retiling my shower, right? Like, how do I do all of that? And the amount of time and the distraction it would take from my normal business and doing that to just that one project is, I know that it's not going to fall apart in 6 months and the tiles aren't going to crash off the walls. And so that's why you hire a professional. Yeah, you could DIY it and it would be cheaper for you to DIY it, but there's a lot of unintended consequences that might come down the road because you didn't hire that general contractor. So it's funny because I'm starting a remodel project, and one of the things that we're doing is retiling our shower. And I was just looking at it this morning and thinking, like, I could never in a million years do this. And if I did, it would look so bad. And, for the money that I'm going to spend to retile our shower, it's well worth it.
Yeah, that's great stuff. So is there things we can do practically? Like, I know, like is there ways for us to maybe, before we get to a specialist, like how to learn how to evaluate our business, like those kind of things?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always start with valuing the business, and that's something that you can do before you embark on, any formalized relationships with anybody, whether that's an exit planner or working with your CPA or whoever. And so that's where I usually start. There are ways you can value your business for free. We use a software tool. It's a database there's like 50 plus million businesses in this database, and it allows you to get a really good estimate of value, so you have that starting point. It's kind of like entering, your GPS location. I want to go here, and I need to tell my GPS where I'm starting from, and then I can get those turn-by-turn directions. So we use an excellent software tool for that and helping our clients value their business. But frankly, anybody out there who wants to value their business can easily do that. And I think that a lot of people think that they have to pay, thousands of dollars to get a certified valuation. And you may need a certified valuation depending on where your exit path takes you. But just initially, you just need a good estimate of value. Like, is your business you may think your business is worth, a couple $1 million, but what if it's worth 200,000 and you thought it was worth 2 million? So we need to know. And then we can advance on that path.
Great stuff. So is there a similar issue when you've encountered your clients that this is the main issue that you need to work on first? Have you seen that, like a common thread to that, where people are trying to exit? Because it just seems like a very hard process. I know that's probably what people are overwhelmed already about thinking about how to do this. Is there a certain thing outside of valuation that people should be thinking about when they're doing this?
Yeah, there is. And the successor piece of it really is I think it's the most challenging piece to figure out. Most of my clients don't have the ace in the hole as far as a qualified, competent successor. Maybe more time and more training is needed for that ideal person. But a lot of times they're a perfect example is, a lot of clients that I work with, they're close to retirement, which is why we're having this conversation. But even if they have a really well-run business with a strong management team, maybe they have 3 or 4 other people who could be potential successor owners. And a lot of times what will happen is that those people are also later in their careers and approaching retirement. And then maybe you don't have anybody in your family or nobody else that you really want to transfer the business to, but maybe you really want to transfer it to your employees and kind of keep that culture the same, and that's important to you to have an inside transfer. So what do you do then? And so these are not easy problems to solve, and again, we don't want to fit a square peg in a round hole and force something that's not a good fit for you as the business owner or for that successor. And so we really need to think through all the options and consider, well, if we pursue this path, what do we need to do, and how palatable is that? How likely is that to generate the end result that the owner is looking for?
Great stuff. I have this thing in my mind. I keep on thinking about like a restaurant owner who's trying to get rid of his business now, and he has this like secret recipe that that's you've been kept in the family for years and years, but now there's no more family to really push it on. How do you get in those situations where you're trying to protect something, or do you give that recipe away? Is there a certain transaction or what kind of thing like that works in that
Yeah.
instance?
Yeah, that's a good example, that secret recipe. So that'd be like, maybe a proprietary process or some kind of like intellectual property, right? And so depending on the type of business it is and what are your closely guarded secrets, how can you monetize those things? And how can you use those things to add value to your business? That's really important. And restaurant's a good example. If you have some signature recipe or so that has value, and it's well known and maybe popular in the marketplace, those types of things add to the value of the business when you're looking to transfer that. So
That's good. Yeah, I like that idea. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Okay, so I've got a few more questions here, and here is one of them. This is obviously this niche is. I mean, I think it's just great, Ashley. I think it's just awesome. So, do you have like a legacy impact you want to leave with the world? Is there something that you in this way or something else that you want to just change the world in some way?
gosh, that's a really good question. Our entire goal is to help our clients in the financial realm, but finances spill over. It's this interconnected web, right?
Yeah.
And so finances, you can't just look at finances in a vacuum. But so our goal in working with every single client is to add value and meaning into their life through the financial realm. So helping them prioritize their most important goals and then partnering with them over a period of time. So it's really a relationship. It's not this like transaction. Oh, you're going to sell your business and then see you later. Our clients work with us all the way through and beyond the transition. And our goal is to really understand exactly what is most important to our clients and then work with them to that step-by-step process to get them there and to do everything we possibly can to ensure that goes according to plan. And life happens, right? We things definitely never go according to plan because that's just the way life is. And so planning for those contingencies and the unexpected events and
Yeah.
those. So that's all a part of what we do. But I would say if we're doing our job and we're being and it's a successful relationship with clients, they're getting to the end of their life, and that life is meaningful and valuable, and they feel like they made an impact. And you can do a lot of good with financial means and connect that to what your legacy is that you want to leave on the world too. So our job is to really just identify and work with our clients to partner with them to achieve those. And the other thing I would say too is, this sometimes with friends you might casually talk about this, but money and financial things are pretty guarded, and
Yeah.
we're usually the only person in the life of our client where they can speak completely candidly and openly. And that's really, really important, just to be able to articulate, like, what is it that I want? What is my legacy that I want to leave? And so I don't know, I guess the short answer to that question would be the legacy that I would want to leave is helping other people achieve their legacy and what they want to do, and be intentional about achieving that, and partnering with them to help them make progress towards reaching that vision.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to sneak in this little question here. I hope you don't mind. Here we go. Watch this. Okay. Tell us about this other achievement of yours, this 4-time humorous speech champion. What is that about? I had to put that in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, when I talk about exit planning, it's not a financial stuff is kind of dry to begin with. Doesn't lend itself to funny stories and jokes and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've always enjoyed public speaking. I've been one of those weird people who actually enjoys it. And then early in my career, I joined Toastmasters, and I was in Toastmasters for over a decade.
Wow.
And I'm very competitive. And so they have these speech competitions that you can enter. And one of them is a humorous speech competition. And so I competed at the club level, and then several times I advanced beyond the club level to like the division and area I forget, there's different levels, but I wrote speeches, and I found that it is very hard to be funny in a speech.
Okay.
I very much admire people who are just naturally funny, and comedians especially, but yeah. So it was
Awesome.
all through Toastmasters, but it was a lot of fun, and it forced me to really grow that speaking muscle, because it's very tough to be funny when you're supposed to be funny in a speech.
That is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Awesome. Well, you're like a dynasty, 4-time. You're a 4-time champion. You have to go back and get your crown again. I don't know. That is quite awesome. Well, I got one last question here. Actually, of all of my guests, goes something like this. There may be some people out there who are watching you now, listening to you later, that want to get into the space of helping people exit their business, and they have maybe similar goals, similar interests, and they want to do what you're doing, Ashley. Can you tell them in your own words how they can become an authority in this space?
Good question. Yeah, what really leveled up my understanding and ability to really help my clients in this area was getting the certified exit planner designation. That was huge in just the well-rounded approach. So there's that. There's a related designation. It's called a CEPA, and I would encourage anybody who wants to explore this further to first talk to other people who are very involved in working with business owners. These would be attorneys, tax accountants, and asking them, how valuable would this be for your clients if I was helping with their exit? And a lot of CPAs and attorneys, business brokers, other people who work a lot with business owners, especially at the end stage of their working and business owner life, they see the value in this and having someone to kind of manage the whole process. So I would ask around to the people who work with business owners, and then explore those designations and boot camps and going to conferences and reading books. And I mean, there's lots of things that you can do to get started. But I would start with exploring the couple entities out there that provide specific designations and training and education for people who are wanting to concentrate and focus on exit planning for business owners.
That's perfect. Perfect. Fantastic, Ashley. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Can you please tell people where they can find you after the show?
Yes. So if you go to truenorthra.com/value my business, we provide a free checklist that allows business owners to gather the necessary data to value their business. So once you gather the data, it's basic stuff. It's like revenue, pre-tax income, very basic data points. And there's only 9 of them. And once you gather that information, you can take it to a free valuation tool that we provide. And in less than 10 minutes, you will be able to get a very accurate estimate of your business value. So I encourage everyone to go that. It's a free resource. There's no strings attached. It's an amazing database to be able to just input your data and get an instant result in valuation. So truenorthra.com/value my business is where you can get the checklist and then unlimited access to that valuation tool.
Great. That's amazing. Great. That's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the 4-time humorous speech champion, Ashley Micciche, in the house today. Just amazing stuff here. Amazing stuff. And I'm just honored to have you here. And please, people, get a hold of her and get your business evaluated. I am done unless you have any last final words for us on this Friday.
Yeah, Brian, thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be with you. And I just can't say, if you take nothing else away from our conversation today, understand what your business is worth for your business owner listeners. It's so important. It's the very first thing that you want to do when you're starting to think about your exit.
Great. Awesome stuff. People, as I always say, build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. We're out. Peace.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.